What is your favorite insult that doesn't sound like an insult? Common customer service technique I use. Customer is ranting and yelling on the phone, and I don't say anything or try to interrupt. Then when they pause and ask if I'm still there, I say, yes, I was just waiting for you to finish. Takes the wind out of their sails every time. Not necessarily an insult, more than a jokey comment to a coworker, but I love it. Has anyone told you you're doing a good job today? Response, no, think about that. From the movie Spanglish, maybe your low self-esteem is just common sense. Ooh, as someone with low self-esteem, this is a sick burn. You're at the top of the bell curve. That's so mean. I thought it was an average insult. It's really nothing special. Coming in at year 14 and boasting the personality equivalent of a Honda Accord. If she was a spice, she would be flour. If someone asks for a work reference, you can say, any employer would be lucky to get this person to work for them. I'm embarrassed to say how long it took me to get this work. It's impressive how you managed to stay so confident. I feel like that's similar energy to what my buddy's dad said to him after he got a digger stuck, then got a trailer stuck trying to free the digger, then got both unstuck with a truck. You know, I really admire your ability to get out of these kind of situations. Most people would just avoid getting into them in the first place, but I really admire your ability to get out of these kind of situations. A smooth sea never made a good sailor. I like that. Mine is experience is recognizing a mistake when you're about to make it again. I had a job at a Japanese ramen shop for a year or so. We had a new working holiday girl over, and she didn't speak English. So I'm teaching her the job by pointing, and I tapped our 9-pan too hard, and some garlic oil flew out and splashed me. The next day I'm running her through what we went over, and I did the same thing. Tapped the 9-pan too hard, garlic flew out and splashes me. She starts typing into Google Translate, and I get you're the type who can't learn. Man, I know I learn slowly, but to have it translated to me was a reminder that I'm still not that quick low. I like this. It's comforting to me. Hope it's true. It's true, but also if you're a sailor and keep sailing into rough seas all the time, maybe you should work on your forecasting ability, if you know what I mean. The fact that you have any hope left in your life is your most admirable quality. My favorite one is sounds like you weren't burdened with an overabundance of schooling. My version of this is, God, I wish I had the amount of self-confidence you need to act like this. This one is solid gold. It's hard to underestimate you. That's lovely. 3 ladies were lunching, discussing the generosity of their husbands. One mentioned her fancy car. The other mentioned fancy vacations. The third mentioned charm lessons. The other 2 looked on looking for more information. The third lady replied, you see, every time some blowhard starts bragging about their expensive shit, and I want to tell them to fuck off, I just tell them that's lovely instead. I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. But you're only allowed to say it on your 1st birthday. You continue to meet expectations. Nicely subtle. My boss tells me I meet expectations every year. In business speak, meets expectations means you're outstanding at your job, but we don't want to pay you what you're worth. And businesses wonder why people don't like performance reviews. I once made a moderately humorous remark among some friends, and one person said to me, that's the funniest thing you've ever said. I think they meant well, but it really was quite the burn. I didn't know you were funny. Yay, I usually only do it in front of people I like. And businesses wonder why people don't like performance reviews. I will give your suggestion all of the consideration which it deserves. The one New Zealand minister said for people that left to Australia, they rise Ike for both countries. There's a Yiddish one. I hope someone names a child after you. It sounds nice until you realize that Jews don't name children after living relatives. Yiddish culture has such an excellent sense of humor. Reminds me of a Holocaust joke I just heard. Don't worry, it's tasteful. A Jewish man survived the Holocaust and lived a rich, full, and mostly happy life, and then one day he died of old age peacefully and surrounded by a loved one. In the afterlife he meets God, and the man says to God, hey, wanna hear a Holocaust joke? God is flabbergasted that a man who witnessed such horrors could possibly joke about the worst thing that ever happened, and he says to the man, how dare you joke about that? How could you possibly find such a thing funny? The man replied, I guess you had to be there. My Jewish friend told me a joke once about how Jewish people have shitty luck because God is constantly giving them challenges. A man is making his breakfast. He decides to go with something easy and fast, so he makes some toast. As he finishes putting butter on his slice of toast and walks to the table, the toast falls on the floor. Now, we all know that toast always falls butter side down, but today a miracle happened and it landed butter side up. The man was completely taken aback and in such a state of disbelief that he immediately runs to his rabbi for guidance. He says, "Rabbi, today my toast fell on the floor, butter side up. What does this mean? Is it a sign?" The rabbi thinks for a moment and places his hand on the man's shoulder and says, "This isn't a sign, you simply buttered the wrong side of the bread." This reminds me of an extremely old joke. A master carpenter and his apprentice are hired to build a fence. They're working on it when the master notices his apprentice take a nail out of the box, look at it and throw it away over his shoulder. He takes out another nail, squints at it and hammers it into the fence. The next nail gets examined and thrown out. The master carpenter goes over and says, "What are you doing, throwing out these nails?" The apprentice responds, "Look, boss, half these nails have the head on the wrong end of the nail." There's a moment of stunned silence. "You idiot!" screams the master carpenter. "Those nails are for the other side of the fence." A close friend of my Zoe is Jewish, and I was at her birthday party, where we were the only non-Jews. Never in my life have I heard as many Jew and Holocaust jokes. Thanks, this got a laugh out of me. Yiddish culture has a pretty dark sense of humor. Mostly an Ashkenazi custom, the inverse is common with Sephardi communities. Still a good one. See you later? Not if I see you first. This has become so common in language that people don't realize it's an insult. You're literally saying, "If I see you first, I'm going to avoid you." The Dowager Countess lobs this insult at Mrs. Cruikshank in an episode of Downton Abbey. It's most definitely an insult then. And her other variation, Richard Carlyle. "I'm afraid we shan't meet again, Dowager. Do you promise?" Bro, Maggie Smith was a straight gangster in that show. What the fuck, I've never even thought about this. I always just figured it was a dumb no-you response that made no sense. I had a co-worker come up to me when I was new and say, "You know, I don't care what all the other guys say, you're a hell of a worker, man." And he had like a mischievous smile, and I was just like, "Thank you, man, appreciate that." I didn't realize till break that he was saying, "Everyone talks shit about you," and started cracking up that I just took it as a compliment. I hope the rest of your day is as pleasant as you are. Now that can be both a insult and a compliment. There are surely disgusting people who will take Thaya as a compliment thinking they are nice. Anyone else here to step up their game for shower arguments? I'm making a list in notes. Very useful in my shower rehashing. Ick, why but hitting people with a really dry good talk does the job real well. There is beauty in simplicity, and you are truly beautiful. I'm certain you tried your best. I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. It's a good thing you're pretty. I prefer you're not good-looking enough to be that stupid. You constantly find ways to surprise me. Sounds very much like a compliment, but can easily be an insult. I prefer you're not good-looking enough to be that stupid. I wish I had the confidence to wear that. Reminds me of that's a nice top you're wearing. Does it come in your size? My brother destroyed me with ICU, bought a muscle shirt. Do the muscles come separately? I do desire we may be better strangers, or any of the other lines Orlando has in that scene, really. I envy those who haven't met you. 3 years later, I now realize I've been insulted. I once called someone too stupid to insult, and they said thank you. You're a good motivation to study. As an outsider, what did you think about intelligence? My personal favorite, wisdom has been chasing you, but you have always been faster. Alas, that age should have denied you wisdom as youth once denied you beauty. I've been called worse by better people. Good old Uncle Baggin. A friend of mine once dominated in a game and got, "I hope you have a warm pillow tonight. I kinda like this one. Have the day you deserve." I once listened to a relative-in-law go off for quite a bit of time on some far-right conspiracy-mongering tangent about all the research she'd been doing, which no one asked for. After she finished, and there was a pause, I said, "Well, the important thing is that you're having a good time. May you live in interesting times. Bless your heart." All the people saying this isn't an insult is just more reason why this is the right answer. It can be used nicely, that's why it works as a sneaky insult.